Hi, I'm Hub Arkus for Pro Football Weekly, along with our associate editor Kevin Fishbane. We are previewing all 32 of the NFL clubs as they kick off the 2012 season. And you know, Kevin, one of your teams, the Denver Broncos, I do not envy you this job because to me, this is a very tough team to figure. Now, the obvious first, what was the biggest addition during the offseason of this club?
Brandon Stokely. You look at Peyton Manning, I mean, that completely changes the entire franchise. I mean, you go from Tim Tebow to Peyton Manning. The cameras didn't go anywhere. They're all still in Denver, but completely different quarterbacks, completely different offense, and obviously still some question marks about Peyton's health. But if he returns to similar form that we saw of his Hall of Fame career, that's going to be a pretty good offense.
Now, there's been some attrition here during the offseason, some by age, some by off-the-field problems, but they've had some losses.
Yeah, they have. And one loss I kind of look at, which is a little under the radar, is Eddie Royal. I know Eddie Royal's been hurt this preseason, but the Chargers loved him the way he was playing in the spring. You look at Peyton Manning, I mean, combine Eddie Royal and what he could do out of slot with a quarterback like Peyton Manning, and they don't really have a very deep receiving core. So I wonder if they might look back at losing Eddie Royal as being a big loss down the line.
Perennial Pro Bowler Brian Dawkins hung up his pads. DJ Williams is suspended to begin the season. You talk about, reasons for concern with this ball club beyond those. This group of wide receivers doesn't vaguely resemble the wide receivers that Peyton Manning is used to working with.
No, and Peyton has been very high on Demaryius Thomas, and we saw what he could do last year. So there's hope that he, and along with Eric Decker, those young receivers could step up. But he certainly can use some better weapons there. And I think maybe the biggest reason for pessimism for this team on the offensive side of the ball is just worrying about Peyton Manning. Is he going to be able to maintain himself for the entire season?
The optimism, obviously Peyton Manning, but what about those young pass rushers, a few other nice pieces on defense?
Yeah, Jack Del Rio comes to town. He's got Elvis Dumervil, Von Miller rushing off the edge. That's a pretty formidable group, those two. And, they can really pin their ears back and go after the passers, similar to what we saw in Indianapolis when Peyton was there with Mathis and Freeney. And they also brought in 3 members of the secondary, 3 veterans, including Tracy Porter, Drayton Florence. So the hope is those players can really help that Broncos defense improve.
And I'm going to tell you, folks, I've got my doubts personally, but the preseason poll says 9-7 for the Broncos, AFC West champs again. Obviously, the Pro Football Weekly writers and editors believe in Peyton Manning. You can understand why. To get looks at previews of all 32 NFL teams, you're in the right spot. Stay right here at ProFootballWeekly.com.